What are some uses of tall buildings that you feel have been underexplored to date?
I think like because tall, always architects had the opportunity to think about the design for the tall building, the high-rise building, as a one building, as a one site of the city. And then it's about like how we can make nice new vertical city experience in the building, but it's repeating the typical floor experience. But we never had like experience, like opportunity to think how high-rise building can create new kind of urban space as a cluster or several like building together. So it's mean like we're not like seeing the city or like high-rise from the one point, but like seeing the high-rise from the more urban scale. I think that gives more space to use our imagination to explore the possibility of the high-rise building with a city with high-rise building.
Your firm's created kind of a calling card in innovative forms and different shapes. How does the city's history, its context, its identity, cultural heritage factor into your design process?
I think like because city itself is a very organic creature. It's very unique because they are reflecting its culture, its climate, its different community, so on and so on. Or it means like some street in Shanghai is definitely different from some street in Beijing or like any other country. So I think the skyscraper itself as a part of the city, it's more natural things. Like the city cannot exist without skyscraper now in the mega city. So I think like skyscraper as well, they're gonna be more organic things. Like more, I mean like organic means more responding to the local culture, local context, or like local climate or kind of thing. So in the future, I think this the shape or like some shape of the cluster of skyscraper in some city will be different from any other city as well. So it's because they have reason to be this shape, like with lots of different parameters of the city. So I think that once we see this kind of skyscraper can be identified, this is the skyscrapers of the Shanghai. It's quite it's already been the next generation of the high-rise building.
So you talked about freeing the profession from a race to build higher, and we mentioned it in this conversation today. What would a future without this pressure to be the higher, flashier, iconic tower of the moment, what would be the new driving force for cities to build better buildings without that pressure to build higher all the time?
I think that's again, it's come back to the same answer. I think like I think it's not about the shape. It's not about the iconic, the high-rise building. It's not about shape anymore. But it's the high-rise building can create new urban space which never we experienced before without high-rise. Can be very iconic for the new generation, I think. So sometimes like we have very, very huge urban park and the high space looking down the city, but like you have like a totally different experience, like this kind of thing. It's very new for the city as well, for the people as well. So I think that's kind of like another rule of the high-rise. It must be coming out, it must be emerging quite soon. I think that could be a challenge for us as well.
What role can architects play in ensuring that Chinese cities retain individual identities and don't, get homogeneous skylines? Isn't it ultimately just a question of economics?
Yeah, because capitalism is very powerful, very strong. Like with they just like cover all the surface, like the copy and pasting, like without no people. But because many people are following this concept, because it's dominating thing, but because it's creating kind of certain value. We cannot avoid like this, but like I think like value. So it means like we architect has to keep showing some vision of the future city, which can be more comfortable, more attractive for the people. Then gradually many people start believing it. So that's gonna change. That's gonna create kind of like a new value. Can be about this current rapid urbanization in China. So that's I think it's a very crucial thing. Like we, as a generation, we have to show different form of the city in the future can be also like it's very economical, but like also like having more humanity, like human inside, like also like keeping the current ongoing value evaluation system, like efficiency, like square meter, and so on and so on. But above all, like we should have like a new value as a class of skyscraper.
Tell me about some of the work you're doing right now.
Okay, now we are doing one big project in Nanjing. It's a new urban development. The site is 200 times 800. It's quite huge, involving the 10 different towers, like office, like a hotel, like residential, commercial, entertainment, so on and so on. So for that, we try to materialize our concept of Shanghai city, the mixture with between nature and human living in the modern city, using the current emerging technology. Then we try to make the tower is not just on the tower, but it's part of the environment. So we try to make kind of Chinese garden in the city, in the urban scale, because Chinese garden provides different feeling every time you go. You're gonna see different things, but you never see the overall shape. So that's we trying to create kind of feeling for the urban scale. So you don't see the building overall building shape, but the building become as a cluster create kind of environment or background for the space experience. Then on the bottom, like some mountain, like how they become like a flat area. So they're gonna create kind of like a very rich landscape. People gonna find comfortable space. They're gonna create kind of village kind of thing. So we try to blur this mountain shape at the podium level, then putting lots of different commercial for the human activity. So this is very challenging. Then at the end, we cover the building by the white strip of the Louvre to create continuity of the experience. So that is it's under construction now. It's very challenging for us to bringing a human kind of scale into the high-rise building, also like creating a human scale on the bottom with a skyscraper.
And what's the name of that project?
Nanjing Zendai project.